Hello there guys, Bilbo10000 here, bringing you episode 7 of Rate Their Chances Season 2, the series where we rate the chances for potential newcomers making it into the DLC Fighter Pack roster for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, as inspired by the thread of the same name over on Smashboards, which you can find in the description. If you haven't checked out the previous episodes of this series and you want to know if your favourite character's been rated, click the card in the top right corner for a link to the series playlist where you can check out all the past episodes. Or, if you want to get straight to the point, check the spreadsheet link in the description to see the series spreadsheet, featuring characters, their ratings, and the episode they were rated in. So good news to all you Rate Their Chances fans out there, this series is going to be posted quite a bit this month. I've gotten the urge to actually create some more episodes for this series without going into a deep depression. Yes! So let's just get straight into things before I get depressed again. Today's characters we will be rating are a Tetromino from Tetris, suggested by Boas and Error the Plush, with both of their comments getting over 600 likes between them, being the most requested character, of the last episode. Leon S. Kennedy from the Resident Evil franchise, suggested by Metal with 192 likes. Jibanyan from Yokai Watch, suggested by Amornal Lokendero, I think I said that right, with 113 likes. And ERDRICK from Dragon Quest, suggested by myself, actually. I'd like to get this character rated sooner rather than later, and none of the other highly rated characters in the last comment section really interested me. I mean, come on guys, if it wasn't gonna be ERDRICK, it was gonna be Earthworm Jim, and does anyone really think he's got a shot? Because I'll rate Earthworm Jim right now, dual 0%. He's from a dead franchise that has not had a hit since the 90s, and he isn't even owned by Nintendo, so why the hell would they seek him out? Moving on. Remember that if you want to see your own character be considered for next episode, leave a comment down below with the name of your chosen character, and if it gets the most likes, it will 100% be rated. The other characters will be decided from the rest of the highly liked comments, so don't give up. And remember that this series does not reflect the views of Nintendo, the Smash team, Sakurai, or anyone except myself. This is a series I host for fun, and nobody should treat it like gospel, nor like it's the be-all and end-all of Smash speculation. I've been wrong in the past, and part of the fun is seeing how far off you are at the end of the road anyway. So, without further ado, let us begin. So, I always wondered how long it would take before a goddamn Tetris Block made its way onto this series, and well, I imagine that despite Tetris Blocks being joke requests for years now, the reason everyone's bringing this character up to me right now is because of Tetris 99. Am I wrong? Well, Tetris is one of the most iconic video game franchises of all time, spanning across the entire lifetime of video games, with the game being ported to almost every console known to mankind. Tetris appears in many forms after all, but arguably the most famous incarnation of Tetris is the Game Boy version that was bundled in with every handheld Nintendo sold back in the day. Tetris and Nintendo were often synonymous with each other. There are 7 different pieces in Tetris, with each certainly having unique properties, but if I had to pick one to potentially be a playable character, I'd say either the T, L, or J blocks are the best bet. The O, I, S, and Z blocks are either too long, too small, or their shape is a little wonky for making a reliable hitbox. So here's the thing. Tetris, I think, has a banging soundtrack, and has such potential for a stage that I am genuinely shocked that we're 5 games into the Smash series, and the Tetris company haven't been approached to add a Tetris stage. It's the thing we're always asking for every time stage speculation happens in Smash after all. I'm just shocked it hasn't happened yet. But as a playable character, what would the Tetris pieces do? These guys suffer from a lack of moveset options. You can't just give a Tetris block some arms so that they can jab and kick, and with no extra limbs, these guys are very stilted. There are people out there complaining about how they think Minecraft Steve would be stilted, but they're also the people who are asking for a Tetris block, which is way worse when it comes to naturally integrating a flowy movement style that fits into Smash Bros. I just can't visualize a moveset myself. It's why I personally feel that if you want a puzzle game character to represent your genre, A Puyo Puyo character is more up your alley. What about a character from Puyo Puyo Tetris who could summon and use both Puyos and Tetris blocks in their movesets? That feels more natural than a literal Tetris block. And I'm not gonna drag this segment out, guys. The Tetris block gets a chance score of 0%, and anyone expecting otherwise, I would love to hear your thoughts on this matter because I am open to being swayed. That being said, I will also give Tetris Block a want score of 60%. I can't deny, if Sakurai somehow was able to make it work, I'd be curious to see exactly what he did or could do. And on the subject of Tetris, a shameless plug, I released a video review/guide of Tetris 99 yesterday called So I Just Finished, where I went over the history of Tetris, gave out my best tips and tricks for winning in Tetris 99, and gave the game a little review. If you're at all interested in a video like that, click the card in the top right corner and maybe leave that video a like. Leon S. Kennedy, my favorite Resident Evil protagonist, with the most unfashionably fashionable haircut, quips to make the world burn, and those piercing eyes of his. Oh, I love him so much. But you guys totally knew that, because if you watched Season 1, you'd have seen my original rating of him. Leon in my original rating stayed at a low 10% chance, but got that beautiful 95% want for his entire run. Mainly because for the base game, I didn't think a Resident Evil character was potentially viable. I do think that Smash does need more horror representation in some way though, as Fatal Frame is currently really the only series that does this, and as Smash is now a celebration of gaming history, redacting an entire genre for the most part is quite noticeable. There are certainly ways to incorporate horror characters into a non-horror setting in a way they won't get your game boosted in the ratings, and if any horror franchise is going to get the honor of the first playable horror character in Smash, I feel like Resident Evil's probably at the top of the list. It's the franchise that made survival horror popular in the West, and introduced an entire generation to the thrill of being chased by low-polygon zombies while walking around like you're in a tank. Resident Evil games have always had a good relationship with Nintendo as well, with various titles being ported to a majority of Nintendo's consoles. And of course, Resident Evil 4 was originally released as a GameCube exclusive, even if that wasn't for very long. And who was the protagonist of Resident Evil 4? Leon. And with his resurgence in Resident Evil 2 2019, I think it's safe to say that he's on everybody's minds, and at the moment, let's be real, he's the best male protagonist in the series. Sorry, Chris. Now, Leon has two major issues that I feel could hold him back, and this really applies to any of the Resident Evil characters. Firstly, his moveset. His main focus would probably be on guns and knives, as they're his most proficient traits within the games. And you know who else likes to use guns and knives? Joker from Persona 5, who also happens to be our first DLC fighter pack character. Yeah, there's a little bit of an overlap between the two characters in terms of a moveset, and with only 4 more characters to go, there's a genuine chance that all 5 were selected and designed to not feel like each other, so we feel like we're getting our money's worth. So that basically means that while Joker will probably have Arsene and a bunch of Persona attacks, his very base weapons and Leon's potential base weapons will probably be the same. And the other major issue that Leon has is Capcom. Not that they wouldn't be willing to give Leon to Nintendo, that's not the problem. It's just, Capcom already has Mega Man, Ryu, and Ken, who was added this time round. That's 3 characters, plus Mega Man and Street Fighter had copious amounts of love added to their franchises, and arguably Capcom is the most represented third party in the game at this point. So wouldn't the other companies want that spot instead? On the flip side though, and this is the argument I made for Dante a few weeks ago, is that if Capcom is so willing to use their franchises in Smash, they could be easy to negotiate with, and Sakurai and Nintendo might want to stick with that rather than risk another Final Fantasy VII situation with another company. And of course, Leon would be competing with Jill and Chris for that spot in the game, and while I think he can certainly beat Chris to the punch, as, let's be real, Chris has become a bit of a laughingstock in the past few years, Jill is tougher to beat, what with her iconic personality and reputation throughout the franchise. She's a genuine threat to Leon, as well as a badass woman. So with this information in mind, I give Leon an You know what, let's throw Jill in there as well for the fun because of it. They have the same arguments after all. I give Leon and Jill a chance score of 55%. I've gone on record stating multiple times that there are 3 major Capcom reps I could see having a shot, being Dante, Phoenix Wright, and now Leon and Jill from Resident Evil. Of the 3, I still feel Phoenix Wright has the best shot, but I do think Leon and Jill have a better shot than Dante. As for a want score, Leon gets a 100%. After playing through the recent Resident Evil 2, my love for Leon has grown even further beyond, and he's surpassed his original 95% to take the 100% spot. Jill, however, will take that 95% that Leon originally had. Good on the pair of them. Do I really have to rate this character? Like, really, do I have to? Is this in my contract? It's not much of a secret that of all the characters I rated in Season 1, Jibanyan was one of the ones I held the most vitriol towards. I've never been much of a fan of Yokai Watch, and the whole fad surrounding those games, at least from what I could tell, seemed to die down years ago. I remember the days where it was called a Pokemon killer, and while it's a franchise that's still going and is going strong, I can safely say it's not going to be killing Pokemon anytime soon, no matter how much people like to make out that it's going to destroy Pokemon with its Switch release. So, Yokai Watch is owned by Level 5, the guys behind the Professor Layton and Ni no Kuni games, who are a well-known company that have supported Nintendo's handhelds for quite a while. They're a prolific Japanese development studio, and they haven't been approached before for a character in Smash, and I'm very high on the chances of a certain Professor Layton, who really should be in Smash in some way, shape, or form, given he's got 7 games on Nintendo consoles, and none of them have appeared in Ultimate. It's honestly a crime. And the same could be said of Yokai Watch. With colourful mascots and various different characters, there's moveset potential there similar to Pokemon, and we're all sure Sakurai could find inspiration in said characters and their series. I won't deny that Yokai Watch has the potential to break into Smash if they really wanted to. That being said, I feel like Yokai Watch is also one of the safest DLC choices of all time. From the gameplay of some of the Yokai Watch games, I personally always found them a bit too childish in tone, and I have to wonder if a character from that franchise would gel well with the rest of the Fighter Pack roster, given Joker, then Jibanyan. I feel like that would be a bit of a disappointment, as we go from a major shocking third-party character to a colourful mascot from a franchise that's pretty new to the scene, only having been around for about 4 years. I understand that some people would adore a Jibanyan edition, or a Yokai Watch edition, as it's made its way into the hearts of many. I'm just not one of those people, even if I know there's a genuine chance the series could appear if Nintendo really wants to play it safe. It's also worth noting that Yokai Watch is coming to the Nintendo Switch and looks pretty polished, using an engine similar to Ni no Kuni 2, you're looking at the footage right now. So the series is still going, and it isn't just a 3DS exclusive franchise anymore, which definitely helps its chances. With this in mind, I'm just gonna get to the rating, because the longer I talk about this game, the more irritated I'll become. I don't know why this series annoys me so much, I don't know. Jibanyan, the practical mascot of the series, gets a chance score of 25%. I won't deny that Level 5 could throw Jibanyan onto the table, and he's got a better chance here than he did for the base game, but I still think Professor Layton is a more interesting and likely pick this time around. He's just been around a lot longer, and I think more people would recognize him. As for a want score, time to piss off a lot of Yokai Watch fans, 0%, because I don't like the franchise. Like, I'm sorry, it's not appealed to me in the slightest. If I'm being honest, if Jibanyan makes it in, I probably won't actually buy the character as DLC, because there's no interest. I just don't like the character. I'd be happy for the people who want him, though. I want to stress that. I would be very happy for everyone who wants Jibanyan, because you know what? If you get your character into Smash, woohoo, I'm super happy for you. I'm just not going to play him myself. Finally, after so many mentions in past episodes when rating other characters from Square Enix, we have finally gotten to the big kahuna, the most rumoured character of them all, the one in all the leaks, and who's been at the top of the Square speculation totem pole for the last 3 months. The one, the only, ERDRICK from the Dragon Quest series. Dragon Quest is one of the most successful JRPGs in Japan, being an absolutely massive series over there and is beloved by the Eastern community. And with the push for Dragon Quest XI, the series is really starting to hit the mainstream audience in the West now as well. If there was any time to add a Dragon Quest character into Smash, it would be now, during the period of time where Dragon Quest is being so heavily featured in the gaming sphere. And featured it has been. Did you guys see the last Direct? The definitive Dragon Quest XI experience is coming straight to the Nintendo Switch, much to the chagrin of PS4 owners, I'm sure. And the Dragon Quest Builders 2 game got a lot of focus as well. With how large the Dragon Quest XI feature was in the last Direct though, it definitely got me thinking, because it had more focus than some of the first-party titles at the event. It's very clear that Nintendo wants everyone to know that Dragon Quest is on the Switch, and it only continues to raise the bar that ERDRICK is the assumed brave character who has been rumoured in all the different leaks for the past few months. And of the Square Enix characters, nobody can really compete with him, aside from maybe Sora in terms of fan demand. Sorry Geno fans, but I really don't think you're coming out of this fight with a win, as much as I would love you to. I've discussed the possibility of ERDRICK to death on my streams, in other videos, in my Discord, to the point where I just wanted to rate him here so people would stop asking me my thoughts. So moving away from all the obvious points, like Square Enix getting another rep making sense, or of course he's getting in the game because Dragon Quest is super big, let me just be real honest for a second here. I think ERDRICK is the most likely Square rep if we get one. That's my stance, I really think that. Even with people desperately trying to disprove ERDRICK, his name's been coming up since December, since the Joker reveal, and he just won't die down. He is an enduring name that has lasted for 3 months without being disproven yet, and all the evidence we have seems to support his inclusion. Hell, one of Smash Ultimate's directors posted a picture on their Instagram of a shield from Dragon Quest, so yeah. Now, that's not to say I want ERDRICK though. If I'm being honest, and I have said this many times, I don't have an attachment to Dragon Quest as a series, and the whole Dragon Quest XI segment from the last Direct kinda made me want to fall asleep because it sounded so generic. And on top of that, I've mentioned many times how I'm just sick of that traditional Akira Toriyama character design, because his style really hasn't evolved since its inception. I got enough of that character design in the Dragon Ball games, I don't need it in Dragon Quest as well. Dragon Quest's cookie-cutter nature, which is apparently the big draw of the series, is also the big thing keeping me away from the series. And while I appreciate everyone who will love ERDRICK and how they're obviously going to be pleased by a potential inclusion from this character, I just can't help but wish it was something else. That being said, you can't please everyone, and I have to come to accept that chances are I might only like 1 or 2 of the DLC fighters revealed. I'm not the target audience, and I'm not going to let my bias against ERDRICK hurt his chances, because they're one of the strongest chances I've seen in a while. With all of this in mind, ERDRICK gets a chance score of 90%. He's leagues ahead of the other Square reps, and most other reps in general. With the simple amount of coverage he's gotten since December, and keep in mind ERDRICK can be swapped with any Dragon Quest character and have the same chance, that franchise feels like it's going to be represented, and I'm confident in ERDRICK's chances. As for a want score though, I'll give him a 20%. I've expressed my disinterest and overall lack of care for the character's inclusion, but I'm going to be happy for all the fans who want him in his series. Thank you very much everyone for watching today's video. As you could tell, a lot of the ratings today was just me being like, I don't like this character, but I have to accept the fact that they're probably gonna be in. And yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting episode. I mean, Tetris Block, Earthworm Jim. I actually rated 6 characters today now that I think about it. Tetris Block, Earthworm Jim, Leon and Jill, ERDRICK, and then Jibanyan. Yeah, that's 6 people. Oh god. Oh wow. I went overboard today. Goodness gracious me. But I really enjoyed this episode even then. I mean, it's fun to kind of confront views that obviously I don't necessarily agree with. Like, I'm not a fan of Yokai Watch, but there are tons of Yokai Watch fans out there, etc, etc. Though I will say, don't go into the comment section of the Yokai Watch Switch stuff, because it's just people shitting on Game Freak, and it's not very fun. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave your comments down below on who you think I should rate next, and I will hopefully be back within the week with another episode. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.